of this theater takes great pleasure in making this announcement. To each lady attending this theater each week will receive absolutely free a fascinating 12-piece kitchen cutlery set, one piece each time. It is really interesting and amazing to know how you can prepare your meals in an appetizing and pleasing manner. There's an old saying, and a true one, that what is pleasing to the eye is bound to be pleasing to the appetite. I'm going to demonstrate this set to you, and I want you to watch it very closely. The first cutter that I'm going to show you, now this first one is known as the Parisian cutter. Wind it through the potato like a corkscrew. When the cutter appears on the opposite side, pull the cutter out. Place the handle in the center and twist it out. This is what they call a French curl. When you fry these, they come out like donuts, nice and brown. Serve them with your steaks or pot roast them. Unwind it, there's two curls out of the one potato. Tomorrow morning for breakfast, wind a little strip of bacon around the potato and serve them with bacon and eggs. They're delicious. Different colored vegetables, wind them together and you get the two colors. Here's a little trick cut. Split the curl halfway through the center. If you're making a shrimp salad and you happen to run short of shrimp, mix these in with the regular shrimp. Upon my word, you couldn't tell the difference until you start to eat them. Now the rest of the potato, you stuff it. We'll call this a little chicken. We'll call this here some hamburger. You might have a little meat that's been laying in the ice box for a few days. Chop the meat up fine, season it highly, stuff it into the center of the potato and bake them with the skins on. When they're done, cut them in two. Serve them on the half shell just like that. Serve them in slices when company calls. The more company you have, the thinner you cut the slices. If your mother-in-law calls, give her a beak piece like that. Now the second tool in the set is known as the garnishing knife. Everything you cut with this must come out fancy. Watch this, please. You cut down, you turn the potato, and then you cut through the edge. First one way and then the other. Sweet potatoes cut like this. Drop them into a little batter of pancake flour and fry them. When they're golden brown, sprinkle molasses on them. Serve them with strips of bacon for breakfast. Why, they're delicious. Here's beets, you pickle them, and carrots, you steam or cream them. In making the original French fried potato, cut them in thick slices. Put them one on top of each other. Cross-cut the slices, and you'll never eat a French fry any other way. The potatoes cut like this will not absorb the fat because they're garnished around. Pineapples cut for your pineapple and cheese salad, cut them the same way. Here is one, and this is a dandy. Cuts any thickness or any size. Open it for a thick slice, close to the top for a thin slice. Saratoga chips, you can make them for 3 or 4 pennies a pound. Just pull the blade towards you like this. If you want the slices thicker than this, open the blade, there's a thick slice. Shoestrings for your Friday fish dinner, cut them down like this. Chop them up for your vegetable soup. What this knife is really intended for is for cutting the cabbage. You know the old-fashioned board, how you rip and tear, sometimes nipping the ends off your fingers. Lay it flat and pull it lightly towards you over the cabbage. The weight of the knife across the cabbage is all that's necessary. Why, ladies, when you get slaw cut as fine as this, you'll certainly appreciate eating it. The crowning feature of the set is the cutter that I'm going to show you now. This is known as the Champeen Vegetable Mincing Knife and Noodle Cutter. Now, when you want to make some real fine noodles at home, you roll the dough out like this. Dip this into a little flour so it doesn't stick to the dough, and as you roll it over the dough, that will cut the noodles in long strips, 10 at a time. Did you ever try to chop up a little nuts for cake? Why, I've seen ladies chop nuts and the nuts land up on the ceiling. Sometimes you chop the ends off your fingers when you want to chop up a little nuts for cake. Cooked meat, clams for chowder, soup greens to throw into your soup. Making a little pepper or chicken hash is just a few strokes rolling it up and down. Why, here is without a doubt the meanest thing in the world to cut parsley. Put that in a grinder, you really grind it too fine. This machine, instead of crushing the parsley, cuts it quick, clean, and dry, leaving every bit of the juice and every bit of the flavor. Now, to clean this machine, you press the button. Rinse it out in a little water. When you're through using it, hang it up and let it dry. Here's one here that every lady should have in her home, known as the Parisian scoop. You lay it flat, once to the right, once to the left. When you scoop them out, you'll get a perfect round little ball. You can pot roast these, cut them out of cheese or cut them out of butter. When you're serving a fruit cocktail in the summertime, take your fresh cantaloupe, scoop them out like this, mix them with apples, pears, and watermelons, makes a delicious fruit cocktail served with a little cracked ice like you see here. But here is a tool, ladies, if you ever do get it, you'll thank the day you've seen this demonstration. When you press, it locks. It's like a pair of human hands. Reach in the oven and take the biscuits out of the oven. Ever take the hot potatoes out of the oven and burn yourself on the elbow? A roast chicken out of the oven, a piece of meat out of the pot, spinach, asparagus out of the water. Why, around canning season, when you're preserving the fruits, to take the hot fruit jars out of the water like that, that machine is worth dollars to you. And here's another one that I really know you'll enjoy having in your kitchen, known as the safety grater. No doubt you're familiar with the old-fashioned grater. I've seen ladies take a grater and rip the knuckles off. When you want to grate up potatoes for delicious potato pancakes, this has a smooth, flat edge, impossible to cut yourself. Just like you were washing clothes, you rub it up and down, and you really grate your vegetables real fine, retaining all the flavors and all the juices. Breadcrumbs for when you're serving veal cutlets or anything like that. You want a little breadcrumbs to fry your fish in? Why, there's the greatest proposition in the world. Use that for coconut, cheese, or horseradish. When you're through with it, just hit it down like that. That knocks all the food out. Rinse it out in a little water and hang it up and let it dry. Now, here is a stone made of carborundum and sapphire quartz, which is made purposely to keep these knives sharp. When they get dull, a few strokes over the edge like this, and you can put a keen cutting edge on it. If you have a dull knife or a dull pair of scissors, an old sickle or a scythe, a lawnmower, cleaver, an axe, there's a tool that will really put an edge on the knife so the knife will really cut for you. I just want to give you an idea of how sharp that knife really is when you sharpen it with that stone. Ladies, I've seen some of you try to open up cans. Now, there's a can of Campbell's baked beans. I've seen ladies open up a can and you poke a hole in it, go around the top, hippity-hop, and your finger slips. Let me show you a real proposition. Look, lay it on the can, lift up the safety, and turn the key. That locks itself on the can. No harder than you were winding up your watch. Wind up the key and that'll cut the top off of the can slick and smooth. Notice how the end raises itself up in the air so you can lift the lid off, giving you a clean, smooth edge. Now, that can be used for sardine cans, square cans, or round cans, exactly the same way. Now, this tool here, my dear friends, needs no introduction. This will save you on an average of $20 to $30 every year you use it as a peeling knife. Here's a grater for cheese, coconut, or horseradish, a fish scaler for scaling your fish, and when you're coring your apple, it's just a slight twist of the wrist, and there's the apple core. There's one more tool that I want you to see, and I want you to watch this one very closely. Many a times when you're baking a pie, you have a pudding in the oven, I've seen ladies wrap a towel around your hand, and many a times you burn your fingers. Hook this onto the pot like this and lift the hot pots off the top of the stove. You've got a pie pan in the oven? Get your hold of the pie pan like this. Why, you couldn't get it off with a team of horses. This will positively lift 100 pounds. There's a pail of water weighs 50 or 60 pounds. That's the way you pick it up. But there's one more tool. I'll be all through and I'll be finished. Oh, now the next tool and the last one is what they call the Sarah Bernhardt cutter. This was invented by the head chef of the Imperial Hotel in the city of Berlin, Germany. You place the screw into the center of the vegetable. Twist the vegetable until the threads catch a hold, then you wind this up. You keep winding until you utilize the whole potato. The faster you turn, the quicker the slices. Why, ladies, here's a machine for slicing onions. The first onion that you slice with this cutter, you'll bless the day you've got a hold of it. Every slice cut exactly the same thickness. Every slice cut the same size. In making what they call a rosette, pull the vegetable out like this. Pin the ends together with a toothpick.
Hello there, how's everyone doing today? Let me see here, make sure everything's going alright. Alright. We have milk bread that I started earlier. I've then rolled out and put into pan here. This now needs to proof for another hour or so. My oven is slightly warm, so I'm going to throw it in there. It's probably about 100 degrees or so in there. I know I'm feeling like I'm about 100 degrees. So we'll let that sit in there, hang out for a little while. Thank you for the hose, car guy. Put away a couple of my dirty dishes here. So how's everyone doing today? Going to be taking another section of pork butt or pork shoulder, pork butt, same cut of meat, and doing a dry rub on that today. Let's see something here. That's why. Be right back. I'm going to go grab my glass. I had the great fun of having my power shut off about 45 minutes ago. And so, yeah. So, grab our pork butt out of the fridge. And I'm going to do the smaller guy today. I'll do this extra little piece here too. The bigger guy I'm going to leave for tomorrow's, or sorry, not tomorrow. I think about it as tomorrow. It's the next. Ooh, sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's PG&E said they were going to be checking over things here, and it just very purposely seemed to have cut off for, about a minute and a half. So different cutting board. And we're going to want to dry that guy off since there's a bit of juice in the bottom of the pan. So we have fatty top and meaty bottom, and a few extra trimmings here. I don't know why I put that pan over there. I'm going to use it today. And we're going to start off by trying to get that as dry as possible. Wrap this guy up again. Fortunately, got the plastic wrap on this that was on this before on the ground, so tossing it to be safe. And so that other piece, like I was starting to say, it's going to be for Sunday. Hey, there we go. My bot's now working. Welcome back, car guy. So we're going to make our dry rub here. Is that? There we go. So we're doing Memphis style, or a dry rub Memphis style. And let's see, am I doing this as is? Sounds like a lot. I think I'm gonna half that for this piece of meat, because this is probably for at least a half of shoulder here. Let me see how much this is for. Doesn't really say. Yeah, I'm gonna half this recipe. Need brown sugar. Regular sugar, which I'll use sugar in the raw for. We have do we have honey in the recipe? Nope, we'll leave it at that. Chili powder, which they have kind of, oh, yeah, we'll use both of our chili powders in this, and we'll use cayenne, black pepper, white pepper, black pepper, and onion powder. Start off with our onion powder here, which is not in good condition. This is not happy with the condition of my onion powder right now. So I'm going a little bit light on that, but doing about half tablespoons of everything else here. This is a New Mexico chili. Next one's going to be ancho chili. Cayenne. Yeah, it's solidified up in there. Like the onion. Oh no, it's relatively soft. Never mind. Yeah, I'll go a little heavy on that because, yeah, a little heat. Thank you for the host, guys. Welcome. Welcome. Hello there, Hookem and Health. How is everyone this afternoon? Afternoon, evening, morning, evening, nighttime. Because it's just dried out and it's getting all clumpy. Not very happy with the way it's... Should be nice and... Should be a powder. To answer you. Thank you for the bits. Thank you, thank you. I am doing quite lovely. I'm just getting started here. We have some milk bread proofing in the oven. We can actually change this to a little bit larger of a scene here. So these guys are in my mildly warm oven back here. I have about a third or quarter of a pork shoulder here that I'm drying out under some paper towel. And we have the start to my dry cure that I'm going to be doing on this. We've got the onion powder, the cayenne, and chili powder. I'm going to add about a quarter cup of, let's do about an eighth of a cup here of brown sugar. What were we making earlier, Hookem? And a little sugar in the raw. That was a little bit more than I wanted there, but that's in place of normal cane sugar here, but why not? Make it better. And good hit of salt. Let's see, am I missing anything left on this recipe? By the way, I do agree with you. Was it Car Guy? Someone was saying about cocoa. You can do cocoa, you can do coffee, you can do a whole bunch of different things. This is just the recipe I wanted to try out, so we're going to follow this. Yes, thank you, black pepper. So those of you who may be new to my stream here, hi, I'm Jason. I cook dinner 3 nights a week, live here alone, cook dinner for myself. Generally do rather large meals here on stream, so lasts me the day and the day after, or the day and a couple of days after for Sunday. Drink wine, generally 2 out of the 3 nights, or do cocktails or some sort of alcohol. Do keep at least one of the days alcohol free a week. Yeah, try to have some fun over here. I do a little amateur screen printing that I've just started getting into. I've done that twice on stream now. And previous to this, I was streaming on Mixer. I'm one of the former Mixer streamers who have now moved over here onto Twitch after the demise. Welcome, Q. Welcome back. How you doing this evening? Thank you for that, host. For the people that I catch and know and stream, yes. I'll give this a good mix up here first. And I still forgot black pepper. Mix it up, bot. I started running it mostly just for chat. I may add a few other things. It's got a few nice toys that you don't have otherwise. So we'll call that. Yeah, maybe we'll add a little white pepper too. I'm just getting tired of cranking that thing. Well, it was a Mixer focused app, and with Mixer dying, they quickly changed as much as they could over here, and they're still working on changing things over, but it's a nice app for certain things. I'm a little worried about CPU usage on this thing, so I'm more worried how much I'm going to use it or not. I mostly switched over to Stream Elements now for that reason too, so that I don't have Streamlabs. I've basically cut out Streamlabs, so it's not killing my CPU use on my streaming PC. Yeah, it takes a little work, and you gotta keep on top of it. It's gotta be it's not something you're gonna... You gotta do it individually for each person, basically. It's, just under the users, if you click into... This is actually going to be a pretty good amount of... I cut this recipe down because I thought it was going to be too much. It's just about right, actually. If you go into users and you just look under the user, it's under there, under... If you give me a moment here, I might be able to show you. But my hands are a little dirty. Well, depending on your definition of dirt. I think they probably taste lovely right now. I just don't want to suck on them. Oh, smaller guys. So I'm going to cheat with the smaller guys and sort of sweep the board here, which is generally sort of frowned upon, but waste not, want not. Nope. Spilled it at the last second. worries, Pew. Thank you for stopping by. Here, I will show you what I'm talking about here, though. Under users, and then I'll do you since the person we're doing this about, and then custom entrance command, and from there I'll let you figure it out. Okay. Let me wipe off the counter here. Rinse this guy out real quick. So let's get my pan out here, and we're going to let this sort of chill out for this a little while. This milk bread hasn't been proofing for me yet again, this recipe. I thought I'd give it a second run, and it's turning out to be a little bit of a flop here again. It really hasn't proofed. I mean, it hasn't like proofed at all. I mean, there was maybe a little gap between these guys, but very unhappy with how little they're proofing. We'll let them keep going for as long as we can, though. So I'm gonna do my bread cast iron for this tonight. And that way we'll be able to do both of these at the same time. Which, gonna, I guess, sort of cheat that way. Let's open up our wine and see what that's like tonight. We have dueling Pinot Noirs, we have dueling barbecue types. I'm gonna be making more St. Louis. Is it St. Louis? I keep getting them all confused in my head. So yeah, Memphis style. So, Memphis style, deeper, darker, richer type barbecue sauce. I'm gonna start out with some onions. Gonna use fresh tomato for this, even though it typically calls for tomato sauce. And gonna use some of the onion for this, some of the onion for runaway onion. Ooh, that's not too good looking. Let's see what we got a little deeper. I don't like the way the core of this guy looks. I guess I can live with that. We'll kick out the center of this. I'm going to use about a quarter of this with the relish I'm doing a little bit later, which will be diced up. The rest of this I'm going to... Oh, actually, I need both of these onions. Because I'm going to throw one onion underneath the pork when it's roasting. And the rest of this here goes into the sauce. Go a little bit finer on this guy because I want it finer for with the corn. Blade's getting a bit dull, it's sticking on me. And I'm always a little hesitant cutting horizontally. Take that, reserve that for our corn. And we'll get a pan going over here on the stove. We'll use medium cast iron. Little sunflower oil. Allow the pan to warm up a little bit there. So I said we're going to open this wine and I didn't open the wine. I think I'll go for the thinner cab glass. Don't really have a Pinot Noir glass. Oh, good, that made it nice and hazy. Is this not clean or something? think our pan's probably sufficiently warm now. Bit of salt. Okay, wine glass. As usual with the wines, I've not had this one before. I try and change it up. I try and have different ones. Sort of working my way through all the local cheap supermarket wines, even though I live here in Sonoma County. Maybe after a little while we'll start getting into vineyards or something. Love the smell of onions. Just a great thing. So we got real cork this time on our bottle. Though it does look like a laminated cork, and they did a little art job to try and sort of half hide it, but you got a solid piece of cork on either end, and you got particle cork in the center. Particle cork. Sort of fascinated by the different levels of cork and what all the different businesses or vineyards are using. This one's another named wine, so it's obviously not single location, single vineyard, but it is Healdsburg, so, and Russian River Valley, so it's right here. Okay. Done with the polishing cloth. Slash, in this case, drying cloth. It's not how that should be used normally. So what we have for tasting notes and all that good jazz. You have a very nice label on this. This is a very well done label. Sort of gold and silver motif. Bewitched Wines, which I am not familiar with Bewitched Wines, but they're out of Healdsburg, which is here in Sonoma County. And just about nothing as far as actual tasting notes. A lot of jazz to sell you on the location though. Smells pretty smooth. Some of these younger wines, this is 2018, which it's not brand new, but alcohol can be a bit more present, a bit more pungent. That is acidic. That's pretty bright for a red. I don't do a ton of Pinot Noirs, so probably don't have a great idea for current version of them. It isn't, well, it's certainly grown here. It's not necessarily a majority grape here, I don't think. Pretty sure that's Chardonnay. That's pretty good. I wouldn't suggest it's looking at its color, which color's not the only thing you look at for this, but looking at the color against the white here, it typically looks opaque or no matter what on camera. Yeah, pretty much no matter what. Oh, there we go. I gotta get up close and personal here, huh? You can see through that a little bit. I can see through that a bit more. And that's typically the very beginning thing that I learned about wine is it has to be more opaque for you to want to age the wine, which most wine you don't want to age. Let's take a look at our milk bread and see if that's proofed at all here. Not really. Really sort of sad about that. I think we're going to press on here and move without it, though. Or move with it, but as is. 350 on our oven. I am going to throw this guy in here empty to start. And in 2 pieces, so it heats up nicely. If I can separate it without dropping it. Then I'm gonna cut the heat on that. Check our next steps on our sauce. Pretty sure it's adding our tomatoes in here. Seems like the dragsters are pretty much year-round. It's more of a matter, well, maybe they're local to you right now. Let's see here. Well, maybe you should go see them. Garlic powder for our sauce. This too is clumping up on me too. Not happy about that. Got the same dealio here. I mean, it's still perfectly good if I throw it in like a sauce or something like that, but I don't really want it like that right now. I want it as a powder. And our tomatoes, which the small guys here are from my own garden, and big guys will Roma I bought. That one wants to be a problem. Oh, I'm sure they shake a lot. They're loud. Big heavy duty engines was a little exhaust impedance as possible. Yeah, they're loud. So these guys I'm just going to throw in. We're all cooking all this down into a sauce. That's all going to be cooked down to near nothing this year. So not too worried about being fancy with cuts or style with that. That's why I did it like 2 different sizes when I was cutting the stuff for with the relish later. I have carrots, I have thyme, I have several types of tomatoes, I have 2 different pepper plants, and there was a lot more that I intended to grow, but it either got eaten by birds or not quite sure what got after it, but something ate a lot of my garden starts this year. Not happy about that. I spent quite a bit of time. I started like 30-40 plants from seed this year. Yeah, I started down as a raccoon. I don't think we really have that problem. It's a raised bed with protection, but there's moles, there's voles, there's all sorts of stuff growing around here. It's rural territory for the most part. I mean, occasionally have mountain lions walking through here. So I'm actually going to get started with the corn relish too. And I was going to do with fresh corn. It is certainly time to use fresh corn. I didn't go out shopping today. So we're going to bring some frozen corn, our other set of onion, to a sweat. No real oil there because I don't want to really add much oil to this. We're going to have enough moisture in the game anyways. It's pork week. Wow. Or rather pork butt week, as on Wednesday I broke down a whole shoulder, and this is about a third to a quarter to a third of it that I dry rubbed earlier, and it's losing all sorts of lovely moisture right now as it just chills out here right now. Thanks, Big Davey. Hopefully you're having a good day. And I'm going to get to roasting that here shortly. Starting to do a sauce here. Starting to do a corn relish over here. minus the piece of ice there, adding in a whole bag of corn, minus the few kernels that I dropped on my counter here. It's essentially pickled corn, but it's I'm gonna add a bunch of I gotta get moving on this actually, but gonna add a bunch of serrano here since I have a whole bunch of serrano in my house right now. Put a little bit of heat with this. But it's essentially a spicy and sweet pickled corn that you can use as a topping for a whole bunch of things. The idea here is I'm going to put it on top of our shredded pork sandwich. I still have that Salvadoran pickled cabbage relish, which I think is going to go great with this. It's garlicky, it's pickled funky. I really like it. I want to make that a lot more. It is not your typical like just pickled cabbage. All the umami flavor that packed in that recipe that I did. So seeds and all, just not the stems. And throwing this in with our corn and onion. And frozen veggies you always want to make sure and bring up to a full cooked temp. But we're going to add a couple other things here while we're on our way. Starting with a whole bunch of vinegar. But I want to bring this up to be above frozen here first. How's this going? This needs to be on and higher. Along with heat over here, I'm going to add some tomato paste, which will, since I'm using fresh instead of pureed tomato, pre-pureed potato, tomato. Cannot talk today apparently. Oh, I can't talk normally. How we all doing out there? We all still breathing? Thanks, Davey. Oops. So let's see what else I need to saute in here with this. I think I'm pretty much good with all the rest of that. Awesome. So do a little butter in the pan. Actually, I had this leftover butter from earlier I'm not going to use now. That works nicely in there. Make sure there's no paper on that. Didn't realize you guys weren't seeing that. So we got our corn, our onion, our serrano over here. This is going to get a bunch of salt. Actually, both of these are going to get a bunch of salt. I already salted the onions here, so only lightly with that. And pretty heavily here with this. You're going to add some sugar and spice into this party. Make that everything nice. Oh, we got some sweet peppers kicking around the kitchen too that I don't have use for right now. We'll throw a couple of those in here too. Give ourselves some nice color. Put those up there for a little bit later. The corn relish you can or jar, and but I'm just gonna sort of do a quick pickle with it. So more of a I'm gonna use within the next 2 weeks and keep it in the fridge. Though I'm gonna fill it full of vinegar here, so I can promise you 2 weeks. Choices. Still trying to figure out what my plan of action is here now. I think it's time to add vinegar to the party and make myself want to cough. Because we're going to be adding it in hot. Going in hot. I think that corn's looking like it's been warmed through. Definitely don't want to go too far with it. And so where is my quarter cup measure? I'm going to add a quarter cup of vinegar there, and at least a quarter cup here, probably closer to a cup. Let's say that's good for, let's do a full cup there. Need that brown sugar again. Both of these guys add about that much there. About that much there. 2 tablespoonish, tablespoon and a half-ish. And a bit more sugar here. Because we are going sweet and spicy, or at least sweet pepper spicy. I'm realizing that I'm listening to music, but you guys are not listening to music. Why is this? Let's turn on the music for you guys too. I know why that is. It's because I was waiting for a song change to turn it on, and I never paid it. I went and forgot. So we got all that sugar in there. Got a pinch more salt in there. I think it's time we start using separate spoons here, because that's a little bit more tomato saucy now. We need to bring that up to a boil here. And let's see if there's any other goodies I want to throw in there with this. Like maybe a couple of whole black peppercorns. Oh, I got that guy in there good this time. Jar's got a cork on it for keeping it closed, and I packed it on there good. There we go. A couple mustard, or a couple black pepper, a little bit of, oh, that's a little mustard seed. And maybe allspice, but I don't have any in the kitchen. Maybe a little, it's the wrong one, paprika. I'll do a pinch of paprika here. Smoked paprika. I'm going to turn this guy down now. Meant to do that. That was smelling all sorts of summery. You got sweet, you got spicy, and I mean it's corn, so it's sweet already. I think our oven's probably happy here now to get our pork started and our bread. So going to put this guy down so we can start the pork. I'm going to throw the bread in when I take the pan out. That was wrong. Okay, so pork, fat and skin side down. Oh, yeah, fat and skin side down. Same with the small little guy here. Lid over the top. In the oven. And forget about those for about, 30 minutes at least. Let's see if it can cool down a little bit more. So we got our vinegar and our beginnings of everything else here. Let's look at all else I need to throw into this recipe. Worcestershire.
I'll tell you the truth.
2 tablespoons or so of generic yellow. I thought there was ketchup in this.
Remember all the happy times we had?
We got enough tomato in here, I guess.
Very much alike.
Molasses.
Remember all the happy times we had? Very much alike.
Cayenne, black pepper, and a little hot sauce.
Right. I'll tell you the truth.
Do a good shake of cayenne in there. Actually, I'm gonna add a little aromat. European viewers may know this. US people probably don't know. It's essentially MSG. But I typically more use it for chickeny things, but I think it's going to be mild enough that it'll work back in the background of this compared to straight MSG. And good, we're coming up to a boil here with that. What am I forgetting with this? There was something, black pepper and hot sauce. Sorry, I bumped the camera. And it's a Louisiana hot sauce, which they mean Tabasco. I'm gonna add Frank's. At least I don't think I have to worry about naming names at this point on Twitch. And we'll give this a nice blend until it's smooth here. And we'll mute everything up here nice so you guys don't have to worry about that. So there we have our thick barbecue sauce, which I'm gonna give this a quick strain through a little bit of a sieve. Make sure that we have all those seeds and stuff like that, and I didn't puree those seeds completely in this. So there's still little bits to get out, and we want a nice smooth sauce, don't we? Tastes pretty yummy. Is pretty deep, pretty rich. Ooh, it gets that pepper in the background now too. Bowl and strainer. Oh yeah, that's right. I started putting them over here. I kept dropping them. Oh, Spencer, I don't know if I caught that you followed. That was a while ago. It was over an hour ago. But if you're still hanging out there, thank you for following, Spencer. I apologize for not catching that earlier. We'll keep using the same guy. Looks like we worked out pretty well with that too. That's. I mean, I don't have a ton of pork here for this project, so that looks like a good amount of sauce for a small amount of pork. Throw the thicker parts there, leftovers, and compost, and quickly clean our strainer and our blender because it's best while things are still not dried out. Definitely taste that Worcestershire on the aftertaste of the sauce. This is almost something I wished I had some like smoked tomatoes for or something. This needs a little bit. I mean, it's got depth and all the sugar and all that is deep, dark flavors, and we cooked the tomatoes down pretty well for it. Tomato sauce wouldn't be any less fresh. But it needs. I think it sort of needs more depth for being as deep as it is. So maybe actually maybe a little coffee or a little cocoa, like I was thinking earlier with the spice rub, or with car guy was suggesting with the spice rub. Trying to steal credit already. Spray gun just likes to get just like locked on. So we got our corn here. This is just gonna chill out. Turn the heat off on this. This is gonna rust, allow it to cool down to room temp. You then could jar this if you wanted to keep it for longer, or can it. I am just going to put it in the fridge. But that is going to be along with some of our fermented sloth, which I'm going to take out of the fridge here to warm up a little bit closer to room temp. Just heating this pan up. Dry it out. So we got our sauce, we got our garnish. Waiting on our bread and our meat. I should probably turn a fan on here, that'd be good. Look at it. Twitter Twitch. Thank you for the going live tweets. I don't know if it was I'm new to the Team Bonin group, and it seems like they have a thing going on. It seems like a number of people trying to do Beef Wellington right now. I'm still learning things about the group, which it's been great so far. Which, all culinary people. Switch this to a bowl here. Oh boy, you smell the vinegar with that. Like I said, it's essentially pickled, so, or it's quick pickled right now, or what some may know as refrigerator pickled. No actual ferment here, but the preservation technique is. Since we're just waiting on the oven here. Like I said before, this is not your typical fermented slaw here. This has got some power to it. You got the serranos and garlic and umami in there. It's all sorts of yummy, funky. I need something to set this in. Pan real quick, just to hold a bag of water, and I'll give you guys a close-up of that when I spoon it out here. And so this was for the pupusas last Sunday. But I started fermenting it the Wednesday before that, I want to say. But yummy stuff. I'm really hooked on this. This is the first time I made it. Really like it. So we'll throw a little of that on top of our sandwiches. National Sandwich Month. It's also National Panini Month. Not quite sure why Panini gets the separate designation during the same month. I mean, yeah, Panini is pressed and grilled typically. I don't know if that's necessarily for sure definition, but it's also a sandwich. Anyone out there disagree? Excuse me. Dry out a bit longer. Warm, but you're still not clean. Don't want to leave any of the tomato left over in this pan, even though I got a really nice finish on my cast irons at this point. With my regular use, you don't want to leave acidic things chilling on a pan. It's just gonna ruin your surface. Eat away at the middle. So I'm gonna re-rinse that, re-warm it back up. I agree with that too. Though it does seem that Mexico has embraced the taco as an American definition rather than their original definition. I mean, it's technically just flatbread. which I may end up eating mine with flatbread tonight since that didn't rise. We'll see how that bread turns out here. Got another 5.5 minutes on the bread. To check on it, it's probably going to need closer. It's probably going to need about another 15 minutes beyond that. Push down all the veggie back down to the bottom here. Add the water back in. Throw it back in the fridge. I didn't do a perfect job of that, but it's all still gonna stay airtight with the water against it. It's a lot easier when you don't have water in the bag to begin with, but I don't want to switch out the bag. And back into the fridge. The whole national month thing is in my head too, because I was talking in a stream last night, but it's in my head because I was reading the Team Bonian Discord, and they post the monthly national things and stuff like that for little idea generating for all the culinary streamers here on Twitch, which there's a lot of culinary streamers that aren't in Team Bone-In too, but let's drink a little of this wine. I haven't hardly touched this at all. It is rather acidic, and that's why I'm probably hesitant with it. It needs to be with something. Fat, but like light fat, not like heavy fat. That's a lighter wine. It's not something that's gonna stand up nicely to, you know, beef short rib or something like that. Or with all the spice tonight. It's a bit light for tonight, but doesn't mean that it's bad wine. Just means that I picked a poor wine to go with dinner. Without knowing what the wine tasted like beforehand. Bread's looking all right. Let's see how our meat's looking. Oh yeah, that's looking nice. Let's give that a temp. Sorry, I don't have a good view with this. I'm not going to move around just for the camera right now. Okay, I'm going to give that another 15 minutes along with the bread. Yum, 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 yum. Funky, umami, garlicky, crunchy. A little bit of sweetness, but it's not sweet. Oh yeah, good stuff. Still steaming there, so this is going to take a little while to cool down to room temp, which you want it to cool down to room temp before you throw it to the fridge. Maybe if you're not doing maybe if you're doing a massive batch, you want to figure out a safer way to cool it quicker, but sweet, a little bit of light heat. Corn is still nice and crisp and crunchy. Nice and acidic with all that vinegar, obviously. It's tasty. And it's gonna get. This is one of those things that's gonna get better with time. This is gonna be better tomorrow than it is today. Just like this is obviously a lot better now that it's fermented a couple of days. This is our fermented Salvadorian slaw, or condiment slaw. Could add a little, I don't have any celery salt, but you could add a little celery salt in this in lieu of normal salt. Or if you got, say celery seeds, some ground celery seed would be good in with that too. I'm just gonna save these. It's all my food, so. Obviously got some sticking power to that sauce, considering that's a silicone coated spoon, and I'm not doing tacos for taco month. At least I don't have plans for it so far. Gonna have to probably do tacos towards the end of the month here, I guess. Does seem to be a thing here for Twitch people to do Taco Tuesday. I might have to do a special Taco Tuesday night some night and see how that turns out. I'm sure the demographics and what nights and what times to stream are completely different here, but I didn't really pay attention to that to begin with. I stream cooking when I normally cook myself dinner. The system that I had going here pre-COVID was there were 3 big farmers markets here in the county that I would visit on Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, or at least convenient. Not necessarily the biggest are on Saturday. And so go to the farmer's market, come home, cook dinner, and then use that same dinner for the next day or a couple days. Most of the farmers markets are still open right now, and I think they're a great safe option. I just haven't been going out. So still occasionally hit them up. Still planning on, I gotta do something here probably on Sunday morning. I'll probably hit up the market on Sunday morning here for once. It's been a while since I've been to the local one. $1989. I don't know the history on tacos well enough to. I do know that, 20 years ago, if you went to Mexico and asked for a taco, you'd get a sandwich. But today, I think you'd get a taco as far as what Americans think of a taco. That's dirty. I gotta throw that over with the heat ones now. There's a whole bunch of things that it is this month. It's National Motorsport Month. Oh, geez, what else is there? I've forgotten it all already, but. That bread is smelling good in there. I'm sure that pork smells good too, but that cast iron seems to be keeping that smell at bay a little bit. That bread is smelling yummy. Welcome. How you doing? We're serving a little bit of a pause here. We got another 5 minutes or so and to go on the oven here. And we got milk bread rolls going in the oven. We got a dry rubbed pork shoulder in the oven, and we got all of our sides already made ahead of here. We got a Salvadorian fermented slaw that I made about a week and a half ago that I pulled out ahead of time here. We have some pickled corn relish here that I made fresh during the stream, and we have a heavier, deeper Memphis style barbecue sauce. So we're doing barbecue this week. Well, doing pork shoulder all this week. Anyone new to the stream, I've broken down a whole hog in, I broke it down about a month and a half ago now. And so I have a freezer between you and me and the camera right now, with a good portion of that still in there. And so I'm breaking down one of the shoulders here this week. And Wednesday I did a apple cider braised pork. Tonight I'm doing more of a Memphis style pork with a dry rub and a deeper, heavier, thicker sauce. And on Sunday I'll be doing the last piece of it with a Kentucky style, Louisville style sauce. I'm hopefully gonna be doing cornbread on Sunday. And we'll be doing dueling Pinot Noirs the 2 nights here too. We've got, I live in Sonoma County. This is a Sonoma County Pinot Noir, even though it's a named wine. And for Sunday, I have a Coppola Pinot Noir, his director's line. He has, well, the vineyard has, I think, 3 lines of supermarket wine under his name. And so that's the mid-level of the 2. Nice. Oh, I love myself a good canned tuna sandwich every now and then. I actually bought the pig for financial. I mean, to have to first off have meat that was humanely and responsibly raised by a farm that's local to me here in the county, processed by a butcher here in the county, and so environmental impact at a negative or at minimum. It was pasture raised, so it's been eating quality food, and it gives me the best price per point because I can break it down here and use it on stream. Also sort of works pretty well with wanting to stay at home thing too. So it is a new undertaking for me here. I did buy the freezer for this project, but I do plan to continue with it. Do plan to buy probably a quarter of beef here at some point in the near future. Not in the near future, I got some more pork to go through, but next up. And after that, maybe we'll get some lamb or something in here. But I am definitely a carnivore, but I do try and change things up every time. I have a big problem with industrial meat. I'm okay with a grain-fed meat if it was purposely done for like a fine dining restaurant, because I can understand the flavor, the impact. You know, there's a market for that. In general, just because it's subsidized and cheap here in the U.S., yeah, it's junk. I try and minimize, well, overall here what I'm doing with cooking and my stream is trying to minimize the number of hands between soil and my mouth, basically. I try to buy them from farmers markets. I try to I'm getting my meat directly from the farmer or from the rancher. I don't know what she calls herself. She raises pasture-raised hens, goats, lamb, and pigs. Yeah, and there are things. I mean, I do have my limits to where I go with financials, and I'm sure everyone does. But I mean, like I buy larger production eggs than I bought my. She sells eggs, but the price on her eggs is $3-4 more a dozen, and I respect that, but I can't afford that. I think I'm gonna leave the bread in there. Let's take a look at our beef. Our pork. Got beef on the mind here tonight, apparently. I still want to give that another 5 minutes or so. And the bread could stand to last in the oven another minute or two, so I think I'm going to give these another 5 minutes. That has I mean, how food is transported has a lot to do with food. All your berries and stuff that you find in supermarkets are all grown specifically so that they last in that container through a truck, through the traveling to the store, and still be in one piece. If anyone that grows berries at home, you have to know that your berries are much softer, much more fall apart than they do at the market. Well, I don't know if dietitian is what you want to be then. If you're interested in the cultures and all that, which is cool because much like languages, they're dying out. You know, where everything's becoming one on the internet. But I would say that's probably more historian or something along that line, to be honest. Dietitian, you're going to be worrying about sugar cycles and stuff they're still learning, to be honest. We have a lot to still learn about our biome and bacteria in our gut and all that stuff. I'm sure our corporate overlords know much more, but the acidity on this seems to, I mean, acidity doesn't really mellow out, but the effect on me seems to have mellowed out here as I've been drinking this. Well, there's all sorts of science too, whether you're talking, why am I even saving that? It's trash. Yeah. The sort of unfortunate part to that, which we need people to do that. We need people helping out with that. Is a lot of it has boiled down. A lot of our healthcare, especially our senior healthcare, has boiled down to these big major corporations like Cisco, and there's a couple other of them that are already giant staples in the food world, and they're able to work out their deals with the healthcare people and just give them a straight figure for their accountants to love. A lot of the same people that are doing concessions for stadiums and stuff like that are feeding our hospitals. This is opening up with aeration. There's all sorts of lovely fruit and maybe like almost like rose-like aromas to this. Oops, that wasn't what I wanted. That wasn't what I wanted either. I didn't set another timer here, so I already lost track of time here, but I said about 5 minutes. Probably been 4 or so now. Let's take our bread out, take a look at this. I think we're good with that. I wish that had risen more. It did seem to rise a bit more in the oven there. So I think we might be okay with that. That you're not seeing. So we got our bread out of the oven here. Like I said, I'm unhappy with that recipe. I'm gonna have to try it. I want to try and redo that recipe one more time with maybe AP flour instead of bread flour and see if that's the mistake in the recipe there, because that is just way heavier than we want it to be. And then we got our beautiful looking piece of pork there. Get this one more temp up. I'm going to put the lid back on that guy and allow him to hang out for a little bit, carry over and cook, finish cooking. But this is a very good, how do you pronounce the name? Oha? Helping out people is a great purpose in life. Oh, I realized what happened with this wine. I ate the corn relish and I acidified my mouth here and made this less acidic compared to all the other vinegar that I'm making. Still tasting great with all that acidity. So we'll give that another 2 or 3 minutes here to relax before I start trying to make things pretty here. Need our bread to relax too. Grab ourselves a rack here to allow that bread to cool off, hopefully, out of the pan here. Our rolls. Nice. Bottom of our bread there looking nice and toasty. But yeah, wishing they had risen a bit more. Hey, glass. I am doing lovely. How you doing this evening? Just about to wrap things up here. We're letting our pork carry over cook on the stove. We've got our rolls here that I'm allowing to cool down as well. Got all of our other stuff prepared here. Just got to shred our pork and make our sandwich. Actually can turn the oven off and make myself maybe sweat a little less here. Thank you for the host, Create Mode. Tempted to break into the bread. I'm always tempted to break into the bread earlier than I need. I mean, it's like the cookies. You want to eat them as soon as they come out of the oven. You want to rip open that bread as soon as it's... But if you're just joining us now, but have watched the stream in the past, perhaps you're familiar with this. The cortado, familiar the proper term for it, the Salvadorian slaw. Ton of umami, ton of garlic in there. It's not just purple coleslaw. Sweetness from the corn and a little funkiness from the ferment. I pickled some corn today, or made a pickle relish. Got some corn, some sweet peppers, some serrano, and a whole bunch of vinegar. Letting that cool down. I live alone, I'm eating all this, so I'm not worried about germs. When it comes to that, I just dumped it into a bunch of vinegar anyways. And then we got a Memphis style sauce that I made earlier. From fresh tomato and onion, spices, all that good nice stuff. Thicker, heavier molasses and mustard sauce. Yummy, deep. I was saying earlier, I like how deep it's got all that dark, deep caramelized sugar flavor with it, with the brown sugar and the molasses going on. I'm really sort of wishing that I could smoke this or add something smoked into it, just to make it that little bit better, but it's pretty awesome just as it is. And now that I've had all this great acidic stuff, this wine is rocking. So let's shred ourselves some pork here. Set up everything over here, separate from that. Catching the butt end of the butt. This is maybe the only time that I think is appropriate use of the chef's knife or chef's fork. Sorry for the scraping sounds if they're bothering anyone. I can't really hear what the microphone's picking up. I hear everything else. Yep. Especially for not being, I mean, this is I didn't bring it to a full. This guy is probably well cooked, but this guy was 145-ish with carryover cooking. The fat doesn't pull nicely, though. In fact, this whole top piece ain't pulling for me nicely now. You jinxed me. Well, I'm gonna let this sit because that's gonna continue to cook and pull apart. We got enough pork here as it is. That is yummy though. Yum 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 yum. What I didn't drop on the floor or on the counter. I was thinking of putting some onion and pepper on the bottom of here, but I'm glad that I didn't. I think that turned out better that way. So I'm going to put this back over on the stove for the moment. Nope, we want that still here. Do ourselves a little quick dice up with a little pepper just for a garnish here. stealing this from banquets that I worked at in Phoenix many years ago. It's sort of like the job that was given to the one chef was annoyed with that night was brunoise, tons of peppers. I'm only using a little bit here for one dish, but think hotel pans of brunoise peppers. So we got our bread. I'm gonna give that a cut in half here. Oops, wrong knife. Cooked through a nice soft, not a lot of hole. Didn't rise very much there, obviously. Like I said, I wasn't happy with that to begin with. So we'll take our bread here. We're gonna add a bunch of pork in. Sauce our pork. Got a nice mound of our fermented slaw. And corn relish too.
I think everybody needs a friend, so we're going to give him one right here.
Just an absolute mound of veggies and pork going on there. The roll on top. Barbecue sauce in the photo. Get ourselves some garnish that we nearly forget. And that's probably not going to look as good on photo as it does in person. That looks amazing to me. Give you guys a nice close-up here. Got our pork, our slaw or corn relish. Put the cover back over the pork there. Take ourselves a photo here. Meant to drop that. Alright, should have taken a photo of the pork before I tore that all apart. It was looking pretty good there when I pulled it out of the oven. Let's see who we can't spread some love to this evening. Thank you guys all for joining me. I will be back here on Sunday doing the second half of this project. We'll be doing Lexington style pork shoulder with cornbread, some other fixings. So let's go hang out with him. Thank you all for joining me this evening. I hope you all have a lovely evening. I enjoyed this Pinot tonight. I think this sandwich is gonna be fucking amazing. And like I said, I'll be back on Sunday. Thank you for being.
Definitely should give a follow. It's working again. I just had to go and unmute it. We got the bot, Drifty. It's gonna be an easy night. It's gonna be an easy night. Thank you so much for the raid, Chef JT. And I don't want to miss any bits. Rhino Rich with 1,000 more bits, dude. You're going crazy. Don't go too crazy, man, Abby. I love you, Rhino. Thank you for all the support, man. Hang on, let's get the right lighting on that. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, Rhino. Supported this channel a lot. And I don't want to miss anything else. I think I missed something else as well. Soccer Wovian, thank you for the follow. I think I missed a lot of follows because our bot was down. Carissa, thank you for using that Prime. I appreciate that, Carissa. Anytime I see that Prime being used here, it's exciting. But Twitch is, I mean, if you guys want to help Twitch out, by using those Primes, you're not just helping me out, but you're helping Twitch out as well. I mean, whatever streamer you use it on. By not using the Twitch Prime and letting it go to waste, you're actually hurting Twitch as a company. Because they're struggling, especially with Doc going back to YouTube. I'm worried for Twitch. I gotta start spreading the word of this platform.